Hi, I'm Sarah from This Curly Girl Sews. I'm a fabric lover and upcycling addict. I sew clothes from scratch, and I also upcycle tired wardrobe items into new, exciting garments. If you like creative makes and clothes with personalities, stick around and I'll show you how to create something fabulous. Today we're going to be making a pocket belt, which I have a picture of here. This is for my friend. My friend wears skirts and dresses all the time, but she buys them, she doesn't sew herself, so they don't actually have pockets. So she asked me to make a pocket belt. She didn't want anything too thick and heavy like a bag. She just literally wants a cotton belt that has pockets in that she can put bits and pieces in when she's milling around the house and doing things, and doesn't really want to carry a bag. So this is what I've drawn, and that's what I'm going to be making. So it's a belt with a buckle on the back with an adjustable sliding belt, and then two gusseted pockets either side on a backing fabric. The backing fabric is going to be this lovely, slightly canvasy fabric that I have, and she wanted black. She donated this skirt to me, which is a monsoon skirt actually. It got too small for her, but she loved it. So this is the skirt. It's going to be the base of the pockets, and it's got this lovely embroidery on the bottom. And what I'm going to do is actually make the pockets out of the embroidery onto a plain black background, and then the actual underside, which goes against the body, is going to be this canvas, which gives it a little bit of substance, because what I don't want to do is put loads of interfacing and things to make it bulky. I want it quite lightweight, but I want a little bit of substance on the bottom fabric, so I'm going to use this slightly heavier weight cotton. It's almost like a lightweight canvas. I started by drafting the pattern. I started first of all with just drafting the pocket size, because I knew that was going to be the basis of the look. So that's the size of the pocket, which is 6.5 inches by 8.25 inches, or in centimetres it's 17 centimetres by 21 centimetres. So that was the basis of my pattern. Then I knew I needed to meet it in the middle, so I angled it slightly like that, and then did the centre bar to the centre front. So basically this will be cut on a fold. And then the belt, I wanted it to hug her body, so I've actually made it slightly rounded. Probably round just the top of that pocket off a little bit more, but basically it just hugs her body. So it's like a shaped waistband essentially. So it just literally just hugs round like that. So that's the basis of the pattern, and then I need to make the pocket pattern to actually go on the top of there, with a gusset on. So it's going to have to be slightly bigger, because the gusset will be 1.5 centimetres taken off both sides and the bottom, and then we'll have a hem at the top as well. But I'll show you how I make that pattern piece as well. So I'm going to cut the belt out first, which is the front of the belt. Now the curve actually matches how the skirt goes, so I'm going to actually use the circle of the skirt, or the curve of the skirt, to actually help me cut the actual belt out. So I've got some chalk, and I'm just going to draw around my pattern piece. I'm going to go slightly higher there because the skirt goes slightly higher there. So this is my pattern piece. And then I'm going to cut that out. And that's the basis of the pockets. So what I did was actually put the fold on the front of the pattern on the fold of the fabric, and then I folded the skirt so that that is actually the back zip. So this is going over the hip. So this is exactly where the pocket would be in reality. So we just need to cut this out. I'm going to add a centimetre seam allowance, because I actually want to make it the actual size of that. So I need obviously a seam allowance to be able to sew. So I'm just going to add a centimetre seam allowance to where I've drawn the actual chalk line. I'm going to cut through that zip because I don't need it. And I'm going to do exactly the same on the bottom here. The thing with upcycling, what you need to do is sort of ignore the seams that you have a little bit. That's your basic pocket piece, which is like so. And that's on the fold, so we can actually cut now to do the shaping on the end. We're going to obviously attach a strap on the end of there so that it can be fastened. I need to cut the backing piece now, so I'm just going to place that on there. It's not quite big enough, but what I can do is narrow that down at the top there. So as long as I've got a seam allowance all the way around when I cut it to match the seam allowance on the other piece, that should be fine. So again, cut it with a centimetre seam allowance. So that's the lining and the outer fabric cut. As you can see, this is really flimsy, so this will just give it a little bit of substance on the back. I'm going to make the belt now to go around the waist. So I'm going to cut one side at 20 centimetres because it's only just literally across the back. So one side at 20 centimetres and one side at 30 centimetres, which is the adjustable side. So I'm just going to singe that now with the lighter just so that these ends don't fray. So let's do that one. And then obviously you want one side adjustable and one side not. So I'm going to make this the side that isn't adjustable. Put the shorter strip through there. And then sew a square there. And then I need to attach this slider first. Then we can thread the other piece on. And then we'll have the belt complete. So I'm just going to sew these two end bits on first. I've changed to a zipper foot so that I can just sew close to that edge there. And then down the other edge as well. And I'll just put one in the middle. So I've made the belt fastening on the back, so I just want to check the size. So I've just got the lining here at the moment, so I'm just putting that around me. Pockets are in a good place, and that's a pretty good fit. To make it fit, I've actually had to shorten these tabs that I'd made, which I thought I'd probably have to do, but I'm just going to shape those now into the shape of the narrowness of the belt. Shaped the ends of the belt now at the back to go into the narrowness and marked where I want to stitch the webbing on, so I can actually stitch that now. And then we need to just get on with the pockets. We need to cut out two pockets at 20 by 25. So I need to cut the pockets now. I've cut out one, I'm just about to cut out the other one. So I want to get that flower in the middle going off to the centre there. So there's a little bit of satin at the bottom that I just need to avoid. But other than that, I just need to cut around this piece of paper. So that's the second pocket cut out. So I'm going to overlock basically all around the edge of here so that I don't have to do a hem, and it's going to be a lot easier. So I have the overlocked pocket here, and what I'm going to do is actually on the bottom two corners I'm going to do a fake gusset. So I'm basically going to just fold over the bottom and the side edge together at the point there, the corner, and then about 2.5 centimetres from the edge I'm going to do a line of stitching across here, and when you turn it in the right way, that actually forms a fake gusset. Now sewn both the corners of the pocket, so what I'm going to do now is just cut off that corner where I've sewn it, and then if you turn the pocket in the right way, you have a nice little fake gusset, and then you actually sew the pocket to the belt along those two overlocked edges by folding the overlocking underneath and doing a top stitch on the top. The top of the pocket, what you're going to do is actually just fold over the overlocked edge, and then just put one row of top stitching just across there. So the pocket is complete. You've got the gusseted corners there, overlocked all around the edge. I've folded the top down to make the top of the pocket, and I just need to sew this now onto the actual body of the fabric. So what you need to do is, it's probably better to press it, but I'm just going to pin it along the bottom edge, just a little bit away from the actual seam allowance, because the seam allowance is obviously marked there. So you just need to pin it along the bottom first to get it in the right place in terms of height and in the centre. And then let's do the same up the side. So basically turn that little bit of overlocked edge underneath, and then you're going to just do a top stitch just down there just to secure the pocket, and the same on the other side. That then gives a nice little pocket pouch, and then we'll just put a flap at the top there. Both the pocket pieces now are sewn onto the main fabric, so I'm just going to sew the main fabric now right sides together with the lining all the way around, just to secure that. I'm going to leave a gap at the bottom of the front because I'm going to pull everything through the bottom of the front and then top stitch it. So I'll just pin round here, making sure that I don't catch the pocket when I sew this. I've actually pinned it out of the way. So see, that's where I cut away the fabric to go up to the webbing. So the webbing's in there. You've got to be careful you don't sew over the buckle. So that's now pinned all the way around, and I'm going to just cut off the excess to start with. Cut off the excess fabric from the original shape. And then we can just sew all the way around. I'm going to change back to the zipper foot just to sew around where the buckles are, because I need to get in quite close to where the buckles are. I'm just catching the webbing in there, so I'm just doing a couple of rows of stitching so that it's reinforced. So just need to clip off the ends now to reduce the bulk a bit. Do that on both sides. You need to clip all the way around the curves so that they fold out nicely, but I'm going to cheat and I'm going to use pinking shears. That's clipped all around the edges. I just need to clip along the top. So I'm just going to turn the bag through the hole at the bottom now. There, so that's the pocket. I just need to put the flap on the top. But what I'm going to do first of all is just top stitch literally all the way around the edge, which will in turn secure that bottom edge as well. So I've just got out 2 pocket flaps as well, which I'm going to sew together and then sew above the pockets on the belt. So if you do right sides together, I'm going to sew all the way around here, then open them out, top stitch them, and then sew them to the belt. So I've made the pocket flaps. The last thing to do is actually attach them to the belt. So I'm going to pin along the top and down the side so it encloses the pocket without restricting getting in and out. And then it's a natural flap to actually keep the pocket covered. The pocket belt is finished, so it lays across your waist there. Got a pocket on that side with a flap on, and a pocket on that side with a flap on, and then it does up at the back very easily, and it's very slightly adjustable. So there we go, just to carry around a few little essentials. What we've ended up with, so 2 pockets on a belt with a buckle at the back so that you can do it up, and then you just put it around your waist like that. I hope you liked my video. If you did, please click like below and please follow me. I'm trying to do lots more upcycles for you so that you can share in these amazing fabrics that would otherwise go to landfill. So let's do something with these beautiful fabrics so that we can enjoy them for years to come.